Yo guys, what is up? Today we're going to be taking my Del Sol on its first roadworthy drive. This is after I've taken it on a little bit of a drive. I've worked out some of the kinks and quirks that I've had to figure out. There are still some, but I just want to give you a quick rundown while we're waiting at this traffic light. So I got this vehicle on the road twice before this, and well, I'm going to call them two separate occasions. First of all, I drove it down the road to the restaurant right there from my work, and then the second time I actually took it home and got the first 50,000 miles on the vehicle. The reason I didn't record this is because this is usually a time where things are prone to failure, and I wasn't 100% sure that the vehicle will be able to make it that far without any kind of issues. Some of the issues I did encounter, my thermostat, which I bought brand new, installed brand new, and you can watch that in my build series, failed. I don't understand why, but it wouldn't keep the vehicle hot, it would just go to cold. As well as the power steering pump I installed is already bad. So I don't know what to do there. I didn't install it incorrectly. I just put it together, and then from the moment that I had it on, the vehicle, just like it didn't have any power steering. There's no whining or anything. There is now, but there wasn't, and it just didn't work until I was in the high RPM range. So I'm gonna try to get that warrantied out. I've also fixed some of the exhaust leaks that you probably heard. I don't know if you can notice this, but it feels a lot quieter from when I did my first ever startup. So I have nothing to complain about right now. Oh, I forgot to mention, I also did the first oil change. There's some footage of that. There are some glitteries in the oil pan. I will admit that. Is it a little scary? Yeah, because, you know, I've never had to do this, but I don't feel like it's an abnormal amount. I'll post a video clip here where you can see that, but just draining, I didn't see a whole lot of glitteries in the oil itself. If you look at the end of my drain plug, I actually have a magnet here, and you can see that there's some stuck to it, but again, overall, I don't feel like it's that bad. Well, let's talk about my experience driving this car for its little while on the road so far. Honestly, I can say I love how it is compared to what it was. This motor, very reliable so far. I haven't had any overheating issues. I haven't had any oil issues. I do have some issues possibly with the head gasket. I'll get into that on another video, but it seems, oh, I forgot I'm driving a manual. Almost stalled it here. Anyway, it seems like maybe when I dropped it down the second time, it might have crushed incorrectly, and so I might have a small oil leak on the outside of the head gasket. That's something I've got to correct. I also screwed up my valve cover because of the timing, and I cut it, so I'm gonna have to correct that as well. But overall, it's been pretty reliable for the first 50,000 miles. I haven't had any hiccups whatsoever, and I think it's going to continue to be that way. So if you're new to the channel, I just want to quickly go over the vehicle. If you're a subscriber and you've been following the series, feel free to watch the channels below. You can skip ahead to a part of the video that you'd like to see. But what is done to this vehicle? So basically, it's my bone stock for the most part. Del Sol is what I got it as. All it was done was put on some coilovers. I have a full video going over the whole thing. If you're interested in that, there'll be a link in the description. Watch that after this video. But just to give you a rundown of what's happened so far, this engine came out of another car. It's a stock Integra LS, was a stock Integra LS, and I put a bottom end in it, put a B18 head, or sorry, a B16 head on it, and then converted it for ls-vtec. I do have a build series for this as well. I'll just link the whole playlist if you're interested in that also. So it definitely has some work done to it. It's not completely stock, and I have a full bottom end. I eventually want to go high compression, low boost turbo. Oh, and just to quickly throw it in, I had it on a stock GSR tune, and then I went ahead and purchased a CAN base map for what I have. I'm still running the LS transmission. It's just the 5-speed that comes in those. Not the best choice, but it's what I have, and I'm not in the mood to spend a lot of money on a better transmission at the moment. I do eventually want to upgrade to a GSR transmission. That's kind of the perfect middle ground between LS and B16. But as far as it's going right now, I'm just going to rock the LS, and I also have a stock style clutch, maybe slightly more grabby than factory because I believe it's more of an eBay style, but regardless, it's still like a standard soft clutch. So let's kind of talk about the driving experience for my first 50 miles as well as what I'm experiencing now. Honestly, like I said a little earlier, I feel like it's a huge improvement. I like the power plant this vehicle has now. I feel like the low end, it's a lot more responsive. It doesn't take as much to get off the line, like off of a start. I haven't pushed it, and I haven't even done a pull yet because the vehicle is brand new, like I was saying. But overall, I feel like it's gotten pretty responsive. Even just like kind of quicker acceleration when I've had to, seems to be doing at least the same, probably a little better. It is a fresh motor, so I expect there to be some lag basically between there, but overall I feel like it's doing pretty good. We'll just try a quick pass. I haven't even really done this before because I really have been babying this thing. Even at like quarter to half, maybe a third throttle, it feels like it still has plenty of to pick up. Another thing I've noticed is it's actually really smooth overall, which I'm not really sure how else to describe that, but just even going between gears and driving in traffic and rev matching and things like that, like it all feels pretty well put together. Like the rev match is where you'd want it to be. I haven't really pushed it far into the RPM range, but it seems like the power band that I'm in right now, which is still low, is pretty responsive, and it actually feels like pretty nice to drive. Like even around 2,500 RPM, which I'm trying to keep it between like 2 and 4. I'm not really going past that. It feels pretty responsive and like it knows what it wants to do and not have to worry about anything. Like it just feels nice to drive still, and even better because of this enhanced powertrain that I put in it. That being said, like I was mentioning earlier, it's not without its faults. Power steering mainly has been a disaster on this car. It's been a total nightmare. I've gone through multiple revisions of brackets, multiple pumps. I need to develop some kind of line because right now my high pressure hose is held on by 2 zip ties that keep it from running into my timing belt and totally blowing the motor. Just little quirks like that have been kicking my butt. And like all the little things that go along with it that I need on this vehicle as well, just kind of like nickel and diming me to death almost, if you would. So it's still pretty rough around the edges. Oh, and my painting video, dude, that looked okay. Like it wasn't ever like amazing quality, but it was pretty good. I'll give it, it was a good rating. When I put this motor together, I got fingerprints and smudges all over the engine bay, and the oils have totally eaten through my paint. I'm gonna have to go through and redo that. That really makes me mad, I'm not even gonna lie, because that was something I spent a lot of time on, and yeah, it wasn't the greatest, and sure, it was a learning experience and still is. But I just like, I feel kind of devastated with that because I spent a lot of time getting it to where I had it, and it was like the spots where the paint was good and I've tried and it was like perfect, and it's like ruined. And right where you see too, like right on my radiator support and on the shock towers is where most of it's at. So I gotta fix that before on this upcoming season I'm gonna be putting this vehicle in some, not necessarily shows, but in parking where people can look at it, because I do feel like overall it's a pretty clean representation of what it is. Again, let's just touch on the suspension and stuff while we're here. So like I said, coilovers were not on factory suspension. I can kind of whip this thing pretty fast and easy. I do have like upgraded lower control arms in the rear. I'm also on fully adjustable alignment components as well. And speaking of alignment, I do need another one. I feel like the weight of this motor is slightly more. It actually causes the vehicle to pull left a little bit, which is funny because I'll be adjusting right for the alignment pulling slightly, and then I'll shift gears and it'll get out of the torque steer, and I'll like end up going like right, and then I'll correct left, and it's not awkward, but it did take a little bit of getting used to. Oh shit, I don't know what gear I was in. I was dicking around. The braking setup still feels great. I don't even know what I'm on. I know they're upgraded bigger brakes. I couldn't tell you from what, and they don't really fit right. It's something that makes me a little nervous, not even gonna lie, but it's what I have, and that's something that's on the list of upgrades. I just want to show you my new thermostat's actually working. Usually by this time in my drive, the vehicle would have gone from hot, but I let it warm up, to completely cold again, and now we're maintaining what I'd consider to be a normal operating temperature in a Civic. I had this issue on my EG as well, where they just kind of run cold, and that's all the cars I've ever been in that have been Hondas all run a little cold, so I feel like that's not a bad thing. You may have also noticed the check engine light. I'm not sure what that's for now. It was because I didn't have an O2 sensor plugged in. I'm not running one yet. I want to plug my wideband into a strip here, which I've ordered the gauge pods, and I want to have the wideband, boost gauge, and oil pressure gauge there. It might also be because I accidentally ruined my throttle position sensor because I plugged in the wrong thing into it, and I was told that can short them out internally. When I corrected it, the check engine light's still there, so I may, or sorry, not throttle position, intake air temperature, so I may need a new one of those again soon. The vehicle still has a lot of really weird noises that honestly scare me a little bit. There's a lot of rattling and vibration. Some of the vibration is normal because of my upgraded motor mounts, but just like rattling and vibration I can hear, and it honestly like makes me a little nervous. I gotta figure out what it is and see if I can work around that, because I'm not cool with that. I like my stuff to be a little bit more put together and quiet, and I'm okay with the louder exhaust, but I still have some exhaust leaks and stuff up front, and overall I feel like the front end of this car is just a little too loud for my particular taste. I've got to work some of the kinks out with that still. And I actually still love how this vehicle sounds. I was worried going from a D to a B series that my catback would be different or sound kind of bad, but honestly I feel like the noise it makes is still perfect how I want it. Maybe slightly louder, but it's still like not a raspy Honda. It sounds well put together and like a clean, smooth sound. So I still really love how that sounds. I'm gonna get a dedicated video, because some of my subscribers have asked for it, of just the comparison between the D and the B series. And then more of like the B series with the exhaust once I figure out all my rattling issues and get the motor properly broken. That way you can actually get a good representation of what it is. Also, that cloud looks like shit, man. We've had such bad weather recently here in Utah. It's been like just back and forth. I can't decide if it wants to be hot or cold or hot or cold, or snowing and raining on both at the same time. It's just been kind of bad. So that's like, I know it's just rain now because we're finally moving into what I'd consider spring, and temperatures have been up to 46 degrees from like 12 in the winter. But yeah, oh, look at that GT3 RS, man. That's a dream car of mine. So yeah, overall I'm still really enjoying the car. I love the swap and I love what it's done to the thing. I'm really just kind of keeping it through its motions. I mean, what you can see here's a lot of start and stop and go, and the reason this is because I don't want to push it too far and damage the break-in. And also going through these RPM ranges really allows me to kind of hit the spot where I need it to be, to where it'll properly seat the rings and I won't have to worry. But yeah, that's about all I got. I just want to keep it short and sweet. Honestly, still loving it, still loving the drivability. I just wanted to show you guys what it's like, and how I'm kind of putting it through its break-in. We're at 56 miles. I'm going to change the oil again at 550, and then from there I'm going to start pushing the vehicle. We'll just go to routine maintenance and everything, and we'll just follow the build process from there. You know, I really wanted to have this to where I could drive it in this current state before it was boosted or anything, and that's why I chose some of the things I did. And who knows, maybe I'll enjoy it so much I won't ever go turbo, but that's something I've always wanted to do. As well as I do want to kind of tune this vehicle myself. I don't know if I'm going to be able to record that at the same time, but I do want to tune it myself. Maybe I'll do a little video on how I did it. If you're interested in that, please comment down below as well. Please comment down below as well if you have any suggestions, tips, tricks, or anything you'd like me to know or see. If there's any particular video you want me to make, please let me know, because I'm always open for suggestions. Or if you see any problems with this one, please let me know. But I just wanted to keep this one pretty short and sweet and just kind of show you what I've been doing in order to keep this car reliable for the future. So as always, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please drop those down below. And as always, have a wonderful day.